Now from the Weather Tracker TV Storm Studios, this is your weather today. Here's Chief Meteorologist William Cole.
All right, folks, here we go now on this Friday. And I tell you what, today is a North Texas weather alert day, not because we're talking about rainstorms or severe weather, which is, well, fairly typical in March, but we have an outright Great Plains windstorm moving into the area, extremely gusty winds. In fact, peak wind gusts could easily be over 60 miles per hour this afternoon, blowing dust and again, fire danger going extremely critical around the area. So again, a lot to get you caught up on. And of course, we do want to talk about that weekend forecast, a little bit of good news there as well. But again, as we go through this Friday, a lot going on with this windstorm moving in. Like I mentioned here in the Metroplex, 50, maybe even some 60 mile per hour peak wind gust. And again, blowing dust will also be a concern as we go through the day as well. Now, radar, it's completely quiet. In fact, kind of in our region, so to speak, Oklahoma, North Texas, Central Texas, we're really not anticipating precipitation here. There will be a real deal opportunity of a severe weather outbreak off to our northeast, but for us, it's really this blue line, and this is the beginning of a very significant high velocity wind field that is going to be moving across our area. This will be a southwesterly and a westerly wind developing. And again, it's because of this right here, big deep area of low pressure. We call these pressure gradient winds. This is extremely and will become even low pressure, and again, moving from higher pressure down to our south. So the bottom line is just creates wind. And again, for us, it'll be a real deal windstorm. But again, as it does kick out to the northeast, I'll show you this coming up. There's more than likely going to be a pretty significant severe weather outbreak again off to our northeast. But the other piece of this, though, even as we look at the jet stream level here, you can see the areas of white. That's extremely high velocity jet stream flow coming around that area of low pressure. Number one, that's going to help with the severe weather off to our northeast. But even for us, some of that higher velocity wind will get transported down to the surface as well. So we have several components that are really working together. This is a pretty rare deal, but several components working together that are really going to work to maximize this windstorm for us, again, as we go through the late morning and into the afternoon. But here is the other piece of this. As we talk about the fire danger component, the southwesterly and westerly wind, it's going to bring in a very dry, meaning not a lot of humidity, air mass into the area. So again, where the moisture is green, okay, obviously, and where the air mass is quite a bit drier is brown. North Texas being kind of right there in the middle. You can see the donut hole upper area of low pressure there. Let me go and roll this into motion. And again, you can see as we go through the day, that westerly wind just continues to push that dry air in. The reason why I'm showing you this is because it's going to at least give us the opportunity of fire danger as the humidity drops. And again, with the really gusty wind around, we have all the winter kill vegetation, right? The brown vegetation around, and it's just going to be, if you will, the fuel for any fire activity. And again, at least the projections for fire behavior today, any fires that form could move almost 5 miles per hour in these winds, makes it almost completely impossible to contain. So this is really serious stuff we're talking about. Again, you can see the modeling here, at least depicting that opportunity, 40, 50, 60 plus mile per hour winds. Critical fire danger, rare that you see this, but again, this would be extremely critical fire danger there in kind of that darker shade of red. Notice that does include most of our western counties. Any type of burning today, obviously completely not recommended. Here's the modeling. And again, you can see that fire danger really increasing and picking up there, again, as we roll through the afternoon. Worth mentioning quickly, again, no severe weather here. In fact, no raindrops here. But again, off to our northeast, there is that very significant opportunity of an outbreak of severe weather. And again, long track violent tornadoes all being possible up in that direction. So 70s, 80s, wind blowing dust today, all of that in the forecast. As we get into the evening, the wind slowly begins to come down. 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m. wind gusts back down around 20 to 30 miles per hour, so still windy, but not as windy. And then overnight, the winds really do begin to come down. You can see generally 50, so comfortably cool overnight. A cold front eventually comes through, so tomorrow still mild, but not as warm as we've been, with 60s and 70s around the area. That sets us up for the good news part of the forecast. Look at your weekend. Weekend right there looking pretty good. A little more wind tries to return Tuesday, not as significant. And then again, you can see it's a mostly dry forecast, possibly some lower end opportunities of rain and storms on down the road. A lot going on as we go through the day. We've got you covered. More coming up.